Welcome to Historian Diary. Today I will tell you a story about medieval Europe. But this is not a story about knights or castles or kings. This is a story about what happened in the darkness, in the dungeons. To women who were waiting to die, my hand is trembling. Before me lies a document from a 15th century prison in England. The parchment is yellowed, the ink faded, but I can still read it. A prison ledger. Names of condemned prisoners, dates, crimes, execution methods, and next to one woman's name, a single word, visited, Margaret. Age 24, condemned for witchcraft, to be hanged at dawn, visited. That word appears again and again in these records, always next to women's names, always the night before execution. For centuries, historians saw this word and moved on, just a bureaucratic note. Nothing worth investigating. But I know what visited really means. And when I understood, I had to close my eyes. I had to breathe. Because that polite word hides one of medieval Europe's darkest secrets. Comment below where you're watching from. Which city, which country. Because this story is about how power works, how the powerless are abused, and how history tries to hide it. Close your eyes. I want you to imagine a place. It is the year 1456, somewhere in England, a stone prison underground. No windows, only torches on the walls. The air is damp, the smell is of mold and human waste, stone walls slick with moisture, chains hanging from iron rings, and in the corner a woman, her name is Margaret. She is 24 years old, a peasant from a nearby village. 2 months ago, someone accused her of cursing a neighbor's cow. The cow died. Margaret was arrested, tortured. After 3 days, she confessed. She signed a document she couldn't read. She was sentenced to death by hanging. Tomorrow morning, the executioner will come. He will lead her to the scaffold. A crowd will gather, and Margaret will die, but tonight is not yet tomorrow. Tonight, Margaret sits in her cell. Her wrists are raw from shackles. Her body is bruised from torture. She is cold, hungry, terrified. She hears footsteps in the corridor, heavy boots on stone, getting closer. Margaret knows this sound. She has heard other women in neighboring cells. The footsteps at night. Doors opening, screams, then silence. And the next morning, those women would be taken to the scaffold. Their faces blank, their eyes dead. Already dead before the rope touched their necks. One woman whispered to her once through the bars, "He will come at night." The jailer. Or the executioner. Do not resist. If you resist, they will make it worse. Just let it happen. And tomorrow it will all be over. The woman was hanged the next day. Now the footsteps stop outside Margaret's cell. Keys jangle. The door opens. The jailer stands in the doorway holding a torch. He smiles. "Good evening, Margaret. Your last night. I thought I should visit you." He enters, closes the door. And Margaret knows what visit means. This was not isolated. This was systematic. This happened to hundreds, perhaps thousands of women across medieval Europe. Let me show you the evidence. If you're still watching, please like this video. What comes next is documented history from court records and archives. A document from 1486, a court case in Germany. A woman named Anna was executed for adultery. After her execution, her family filed a complaint. Not about the execution, that was legal, but about what happened before it. The court record states, Anna's family claims that the night before her execution, she was violated by the prison keeper. They demand compensation. The court's response, the claim is dismissed. The woman was condemned to death. She had no honor left to violate. The prison keeper did nothing illegal. Read that again. She had no honor left to violate. In medieval law, a condemned woman had no legal rights. Once sentenced to death, she was legally considered already dead. She had no property rights, no legal standing, no bodily autonomy. This principle was called civil death, and it meant that anything done to a condemned prisoner before execution was not considered a crime. Because legally that person no longer existed, Michel Foucault, in his work Discipline and Punish, published in 1975, documented this practice. He wrote, "The condemned body became the property of the state. It could be tortured, displayed, violated. There were no legal protections. Prison keepers, executioners, even nobles who came to observe, they had access. Especially to women, because a woman condemned to death was the lowest status a human could have. No family to protect her, no law to shield her. She was completely powerless. Edward Shorter, in A History of Women's Bodies, published in 1982, found evidence across Europe. In England, prison records showing jailers entering condemned women's cells at night, marked visited or inspected, or sometimes just blank spaces where something had been erased. In France, executioners' memoirs mentioning the tradition of the last night with female prisoners, described as a privilege of the office. In Germany, court cases dismissed because she had no honor left. In Italy, records showing female prisoners awaiting execution were sometimes lent to nobles as favors. A 1523 document from France describes it explicitly. The executioner of Paris is entitled to certain privileges of his office. Among these, the clothing of the condemned, the ropes and tools used, hand access to female prisoners before execution, should he desire it. Should he desire it. Making rape sound like a job perk. Where are you watching from? Comment below. And if this video is affecting you, please share it. These stories need to be told. Why did authorities allow this? Several reasons. Power and humiliation. A woman condemned to death was being punished not just with execution, but with total degradation. Sexual violation was part of that punishment. Compensation. Executioners and jailers were not well paid. These privileges were considered part of their payment. Nobody cared. Condemned women were usually poor. Peasants, servants, accused witches. Women with no powerful families to defend them. Who would complain? Who would listen? Legal immunity. Because of civil death, there was no crime. You cannot rape someone who legally has no rights. Let me tell you about specific women. Real names from real documents. Elizabeth Thompson, England, 1532. Elizabeth was a servant accused of stealing, sentenced to hang. The night before her execution, the prison keeper's son entered her cell. Elizabeth fought back. She scratched his face. She screamed. The next morning, witnesses noted fresh bruises on her face and body. Her dress was torn. One witness, a woman in the crowd, shouted, "Look what they did to her." A guard hit the woman with a club. Elizabeth was hanged. The official record, executed without incident. Marguerite Dupont, France, 1589, accused of witchcraft, sentenced to burn at the stake, held in prison for 3 weeks. A priest who attended her execution noted, "She appeared in severe distress, beyond that of her impending death. She could barely walk. She would not speak." Marguerite was burned alive. She was 19 years old. Isabella, Biltoff, Germany, 1456. A midwife accused of causing a stillbirth through witchcraft, held for 2 months. Isabella kept a diary. It survived. Found in a German archive in the 1800s, parts of it are heartbreaking. Day 14, I pray they hang me quickly. Day 22, he came again last night. I tried to tell him I am a woman of God. He laughed. Day 35, I no longer pray for mercy. I pray for death. Day 40, tomorrow they burn me. I thank God it will be over. Isabella was burned at the stake on day 41. Her diary is now in a museum in Munich. When I went to see it, I couldn't stop crying. Please subscribe to Historian Diary if you haven't already. I tell the stories that textbooks leave out. The voices that history tried to silence. In 1612, an executioner in Germany named Franz Schmidt kept a diary. Schmidt executed over 350 people during his career. In his diary, he writes about the customs of his profession regarding female prisoners. Schmidt writes, "It is understood among men of my trade that a condemned woman is ours to do with as we please before her execution. This is our right, earned through the grim work we do. Some of my colleagues partake of this right often. I confess I have done so on occasion, though it brings me no joy. It is simply what is done. Simply what is done." He's describing rape as a professional custom, like sharpening an axe, routine, normal, expected. Schmidt also notes some women beg, some fight, some go silent and still like corpses already. I prefer the silent ones. It is easier. Less noise, less struggle. And in the morning they go to their deaths more quietly. When I read this I felt sick, but I kept reading, because this is evidence. Schmidt executed his last prisoner in 1617 and retired. He died peacefully in his bed at age 74. He was considered a respectable craftsman. His diary was preserved as a valuable historical document. The women he raped and executed are nameless entries in his ledger. Let me return to Margaret, the woman in the cell, the woman waiting to die. Margaret is 24 years old, born in a small village. Her father was a farmer. Her mother died when she was young. Margaret worked as a servant. She was not educated, could not read or write, had no power, no money, no protection. When the cow died and she was accused of witchcraft, she had no defense. No one to speak for her. She was tortured until she confessed to something she didn't do. Now she sits in a cell. Tomorrow she dies. And tonight the jailer has entered. He stands over her. She is shackled to the wall. She cannot run, cannot fight. She can only speak. Please, Margaret says. Please, I have suffered enough. Tomorrow I die. Please leave me alone tonight, please. The jailer sets down his torch. He begins to unbuckle his belt. You're dead already, he says. This changes nothing. And Margaret closes her eyes, because she knows it's true. In the eyes of the law, in the eyes of God, in the eyes of this man, she is already dead. She is nothing. She has no rights, no voice, no mercy left in this world. The torch flickers. Shadows dance. And Margaret endures her last night. In the morning, the executioner comes. He leads Margaret through the corridor, up the stairs, into the blinding daylight. A crowd has gathered. Hundreds of people. They want to see the witch hang. Margaret walks slowly. Her body hurts. Her spirit is broken. She doesn't look at the crowd, doesn't speak. The executioner leads her up the scaffold steps, places the noose around her neck. A priest reads a prayer. Margaret doesn't hear it. The executioner pulls the lever. The trapdoor opens, and Margaret dies. The official record states Margaret condemned for witchcraft executed by hanging. No incident. No incident, that's all it says. No mention of the torture. No mention of the cell. No mention of the jailer. No mention of Margaret's last night. Just no incident. What are you feeling right now? Comment below. This is real history. These were real women. We don't have exact numbers. Most abuse was never recorded. But from fragmentary evidence, historians estimate that in England, between 1300 and 1700, approximately 20 to 40% of executed women may have been sexually assaulted by prison staff before execution. In France and Germany, estimates are even higher, 50 to 70%. In rural prisons with less oversight, it may have been nearly universal. You might ask, why isn't this in history books? Several reasons. It wasn't written down explicitly. Official records used euphemisms. Visited, inspected. These words protected perpetrators. The victims were executed and silenced. Dead women can't speak, can't file complaints, can't demand justice. Nobody cared. These were condemned criminals. Poor women, accused witches. Society viewed them as deserving of all punishment. Historians ignored it. For centuries, male historians dominated the field. They read, visited, and moved on. They didn't ask questions. Or maybe they knew and chose not to write about it because it was uncomfortable. If you're still watching, please hit that like button, share this video. These women deserve to be remembered. You might ask, why tell this story? Why dwell on something so dark? Because these women existed. They suffered, they died, and history tried to erase them. When I read that word visited in medieval prison records, I could have ignored it. I could have moved on. I could have focused on easier topics, more pleasant history, but I am a historian, and my job is not to make the past comfortable. My job is to tell the truth. Margaret existed. Anna existed. Elizabeth existed. Marguerite existed. Isabella existed, and thousands more whose names we'll never know. They were raped in their cells. They were hanged in the morning. And the official records say, no incident. But there was an incident. There were thousands of incidents. And today I'm telling you about them, because these women deserve to be remembered, not just as statistics, not just as entries in ledgers, but as human beings who suffered and died, and whose voices were stolen from them. If you've watched this far, thank you. I know this was difficult. This was dark, but it was necessary. Comment below, what did you learn? What shocked you most? And please be respectful. Real women suffered these things. If this video affected you, please like it and subscribe to Historian Diary. Write in the comments, what historical topic should I investigate next? I am a historian, and my work is not finished. There are more forgotten women, more silenced voices, more truths hidden in archives waiting to be told. Medieval Europe was not a time of knights and honor and chivalry. It was a time when power was absolute, and the powerless were crushed. When women condemned to death were violated before they died. When official records used polite words to hide atrocities, but we know now. We see through the euphemisms. We hear the screams that weren't recorded. And we remember Margaret, Anna, Elizabeth, Marguerite, Isabella. We remember you. Thank you for watching Historian Diary. See you next time.